Hello there. Why am I doing this to myself? I love historicity in games, so I recently played the hardest HOI4 mod in existence, Black Ice. It has huge amounts of industrial complexity, way too much detailed minutia, and is basically just an historical suffering simulator. And now, I'm back again. So many people seem to like the last one, so I'm back, only this time with the more impressively mustachioed dictator, Stalin, in the Soviet Union. Only I'm not just playing it normally. I'm limited to using only the completely historical divisions, organizations, and presets the Soviet Union actually used, all based on way too much research. Please send help. If you enjoy this kind of historical challenge, like the video and subscribe to help me hit my 50k subscriber goal by August 2nd, my wife's birthday, for a special present of every one of the most stupid challenges recommended to me in my comments in one mega video. So if you want to see some of this nonsense, you should subscribe. So, the Soviet Union in Black Ice. Alright, we have a whole host of problems to deal with, and the first thing is the second 5-year plan. In the base game, this is basically just a series of crap focuses with factory requirements, but in this one, it's a specific challenge. I have to have a certain number of factories in specific states, and more iron extracted, because that's right, this mod adds iron and bauxite. And I am not supposed to succeed. Historically, the second 5-year plan basically failed, but everyone was like, yeah, good enough. But I wonder, is it possible to succeed? Because look at these bonuses. We've also got these tractors with tractor factories that I can use to improve my economy a little bit by like 1% at a time. I don't really understand this. And as ever with the lovely BICE mod, we have loads of research slots, many of which are tied to specific types of research. This means that research is basically a plate spinning minigame, and I hopefully get some more research slots later on. I need to be conscious of getting the historically accurate tanks, like of course the T-34, so I really need to be on top of my armor techs. One big problem I know we're going to suffer with is that we don't have any World War II doctrines, and we can't because we haven't even finished the World War I doctrines, and that's going to take a long time. I've also got a big and complicated focus tree I have to keep an eye on, and spend as much time as possible on trying to satisfy the 5-year plan. Basically, just build a ton of civilian factories and get other stuff through focuses. I also need to be thinking about the types of equipment I'm producing, because if you haven't played BICE before, it has everything, baby, from guns and artillery to the specific types of clothing your soldiers wear, and I need to get this historically right, and to make sure I have enough of the right stuff produced when I change up my templates every year to the new historical design. The infantry division that I start with at the beginning of the game is actually reasonably accurate, but has a number of quite significant mistakes, but we'll get into them later in 1939 when we make our first proper infantry division. It's gonna be packed, man. In comparison to playing Germany, one thing I'm noticing right away is I have a lot of resources, including chromium, which are alloying metals in this mod, which basically makes my steel foundries more efficient and make more steel. I've also got way too many different division types, like there's so many small tank brigades and broken up different infantry divisions. I'm going to try and just have one static division template for infantry and for tanks, though that's going to change pretty significantly from 1939 until 1941, because oh boy, did the Soviet Union's army change. You might notice that I'm building way too many BT-5s, which are saying they're obsolete, because I should be building the BT-7s. Don't worry, we'll come back to this. There's a pretty significant reason why. I'm already feeling super stressed and overwhelmed. There's so much stuff I have to try to get for this 5-year plan. I have to get extra resources, and there are some focuses that give me resources, but it feels like it's not going to be enough. But this focus I just got, the Propitska, it basically lets me cheat. It costs a very small amount. I lower one of my targets for the 5-year plan, thus making it easier to hit it. But I'm just going to hit this on cooldown every time I can. Ooh, and it's also border war time with Japan. Unlike in base game, when you get one single border war, you can have like 20 throughout the whole course of the pre-war period. And it gives you army XP, so it's very valuable. I've just discovered something terrible. I'm on early mobilization, and I cannot move up it one step until I have produced 16,500 tractors. That's going to take a while. I guess I'll just start converting some civilian factories to tractor factories. Let's go. I really don't understand the Soviet focus tree. There's a lot of weird little bonuses, but also malices. This one actually hurts me with Kulak collectivization. This seems really bad, but I kind of have to do it if I want the research slots, so oh well. Oh god, it's the purge time. Black Ice doesn't do the purge like in the base game. It's actually just a series of events where you pick a couple different options, but overall, your life gets terrible and painful, and you suffer. At least it's the Spanish Civil War time, so we can go help out with the Republic after we do a couple focuses, as I really do need to be farming XP. I'm going to need thousands of them. You'll see. We're going to be sending over a light tank brigade, and this is, as far as I can tell, a pretty accurate tank brigade that was sent to the Spanish Republic in terms of equipment. It's not very strong, but it's about the best I can do. At this time, there were no real tank divisions. Instead, they were smaller brigades. But don't worry, by 1941, they all get grouped into divisions. Okay, turns out I was supposed to be distributing these tractors to the peasants from the very beginning. I have massively messed up. It's 1937. Oh my god, this is how I move out of early mobilization. I have to do this like 20 times. Why haven't I done this yet? It's okay, I've managed to do it a couple times now. We can go to partial mobi soonish. It's fine. Oh god, the first purge. I've just lost a bunch of really good generals, and it's the ones I assigned to Spain. Why did I do that? It's fine. Just go back to the second 5-year plan, build civies in all these little states. It's getting real close, and I really feel like I have not got anywhere near as close as I should have. But we get an extra research slot in Kiev thanks to the German-Soviet treaty, so hey, tanks. Let's go. Coming up to the end of the second 5-year plan, I have definitely failed it. I am about a dozen factories short, and a whole bunch of places just don't even have enough factories. I failed. I did as best I could, but I don't, you're not supposed to succeed, so it's fine. However, the third 5-year plan, I'm sure that won't ever be interrupted, and we can actually pick between civilian, military, or resource and machines, which is very interesting. We're just going to be going military production as they did in real life, because it's going to give us a lot of very nice bonuses. I absolutely love the historicity of this mod, by the way. One of the World War I doctrines I need to do, you have a decision between your machine gun doctrine, either machine guns support infantry or infantry support machine guns. Because this is like what happened. The Germans were focused around the machine guns, whereas other countries weren't. So I'm going to pick the historical option and do the MG support infantry. Oh, and here's the malice from failing the second 5-year plan. Stalin blames the wreckers. But all I lose is a minister or two. That's not too bad. I presume this would have been worse if I'd failed it tremendously. We're now finally beginning to get some military factories, so we're going to start ramping up our production, and we're going to be having a lot of vehicles and also medium artillery. Yes, I know, it's weird. Don't worry, you'll see why. I've also now finally finished the World War I doctrine, so I can now think about doing the World War II doctrine, except for the fact that it takes billions of days to research each one because of the Red Army purge malice. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and do at least some of it, though, because I need some doctrine by the time a certain bad man comes knocking. I've also been distributing tractors to peasants for the last bloody 2 years, which means I can move to mostly industrialized agriculture, and thus allow me to go to war economy. This was basically just a little stepping stone to slow down my economic growth. I can now at least start to reform my army command a little bit, thanks to the fact that I trained my navy. I should have been doing this from the very beginning of the game, but I didn't realize I would need to do that, because it says I can use Air Force or naval experience, but no, it demands navy. So, okay, purges are over, lost 1 billion stability, but it's fine. No more purge and random losing things. We got loads of factories. Hitler isn't going to know what hit him. Oh my god, there's an entire new focus tree section after finishing the purge. Why was this hidden from me? There's so many factories and bonuses here. These are so good. Also, I'm dumb. I knew I'd do it. I need to get the KV-1 very soon, and of course, I don't have any of the supplemental techs. I suck. I've also been struggling the entire game trying to wonder why I have no tankettes. And I even know I've been building loads, and it's because, by accident, Black Ice has put the tankettes as amphibious tankettes, and I can't then convert them over to regular tankettes and fix it, so I'm just a bit screwed. Whatever though, because it's 1939, which means we can finally think about our divisions. But first, we join Comrade Stalin with a difficult decision ahead of him.
Comrade Stalin, what is wrong? Oh, it's my mother. You know, Mother's Day is coming up, and I just can't think of a good way to show her how much I love her. Oh, that's easy, comrade. Why don't you just get her a can of tushonka, the meat of the people? No, I'm heavily corrupt. I can get that for her easily. Send him to the gulag. No! All right, how about you? What do you like? A box of chocolates can be nice? No, that's Western decadence. Gulag him. No! You, what about you? What do you think? Oh, what about a Holzkern watch? We artillery officers rely on them to time our massive artillery barrages and be fashionable at the same time. Made with natural hardwoods and stone, these watches are a blend of precision engineering and nature. That's not a bad idea. I might get one of those watches for myself, but I wanted something she can wear out to the opera. Something extravagant, you know? Send him away. But wait, comrade! Holzkern not only sells high-quality wood and stone watches, but also a wide array of accessories, including earrings and jewelry as well. Your mother is sure to like any one of their earrings or necklaces, not to mention their tasteful, thinner gold watches, like this Kalia watch that I actually got for my own mother for Mother's Day. Hold on. Haven't you completely spoiled your Mother's Day gift by including that in this video? I guess so, Comrade Stalin, but I also got some panoramic earrings to help make up for it. That's all sounding pretty good, but what about shipping and customs? Not to worry, comrade. HOI4’s pays all customs and duty fees, along with 24-month warranty and free 2 to 5 days shipping to the USA and most of the EU. It's easy to send these great gifts to your loved ones anywhere. And with the link in the description, holzkern.com/Aldrahill, you can get 15% off your order when you use code Aldrahill at checkout. I'm convinced. I think that'll make an excellent gift for my mother. And that link and code in the description will certainly help as well. Thank you, Comrade Stalin. Of course, no one must know it was not my own idea. You understand. Duh.
The infantry division design you start with is reasonably accurate, but there are some problems. Let's start with the artillery. There is indeed a bunch of light and medium artillery, and the graphs do actually label them as being a light and a howitzer regiment, but the numbers of artillery are what's weird. The light regiment has 24 light pieces of artillery and 12 medium howitzers, the 122mm. So this is actually exactly accurate for just the light artillery regiment. But the other field artillery regiment has 24 pieces of medium howitzers and 12 pieces of heavy howitzer. So we're going to need to replicate this with 2 more pieces of medium artillery. But do you see those little 2 dots underneath it? That means they're motorized. So these need to be motorized medium artillery, 2 battalions of it, with a support battalion of heavy artillery that is also motorized. I know, painful, but it's going to get worse. As you can see, there is a tank battalion, and this is indeed correct. The Soviet army, for some stupid reason, decided to put an entire tank battalion in all of their infantry divisions. However, they were not light tanks. They were BT-5 tanks. Yes, the BT-5 tank is a light tank, but in Black Ice, the BT line is classified as a cavalry tank, the same as the Panzer 38T in Czechoslovakia, like in my Germany video. So this actually needs to change to a cavalry tank to utilize the BT-5s I've been producing, and why I've been making so damn many of them, and it's not going to matter, I'm still going to be in deficit. Of note, the division does actually have quite a lot of mortars and handheld anti-tank guns, which I will need to be adding myself a bit later on when I have the technology to do so, but that's what I'll be doing later on. So this is what we're working with. Look at it. It's terrible. It's just awful. It's too big and too heavy, and I can't change this until 1942. We also have our tank brigade. This is basically a very small division, sort of like about a regiment and a half size, that the Soviets used until 1941 when they realized, oh, hang on, maybe it's a good idea to have our tanks working together, but whatever. We need to build it up to have a certain number of tanks. Each battalion in the brigade had around 52 total tanks. So we need to approximate that to somewhere in the region of 200 to like 220 tanks or something like that. Of note, the tanks within them were a mixture of BT-5s, BT-7s, and T-26 light tanks. So I will do a 50-50 split of cavalry and light tanks. There is also a motorized infantry battalion, just one, that's right, just one, as well as an armored car recon support company, which will go in the support. And then, of course, the regular other support companies. So this is what it looks like. It's going to have basically no organization, and it's going to collapse the moment an enemy sneezes at it. We also need to make the Soviet cavalry division. Their numbers fluctuated quite a lot in the pre-war period, and then they almost completely disappeared as soon as the war began. But this one is actually really accurate. It's just it's about 2 times too big. While the divisions did have 4 regiments in them, each of the regiments was really only the size of a battalion. They were using the old style system of battalion sizes. And so I think the best way to make this accurate is to just completely delete one whole regiment of cavalry. And there we go. It's cavalry, it's a BT-7 line, and some artillery. It's pretty accurate. Just for funsies, I wanted to see what would happen if I converted all of my divisions that are not the tanks, the cavalry, or my new infantry template. All the ones that are just like random divisions. What if I converted all 102 of them? This is what would happen. Look how much I'd be down. 1 million manpower, tens of thousands of equipment. But this is a good guide for what kind of things I need to be making in advance of doing this conversion, which I'll probably do just before Barbarossa. Speaking of, there's the Molotov-Ribbentrop. Don't mind if I do. I'm happy to take Eastern Poland soon, and also in the meantime, I'll start gobbling up the Baltic states. I'm also only now just realizing that I need to be clicking these little buttons in operations to train new officers and learn from mistakes of Army and Air Force many times. And I haven't been doing that, so that's not going to be good. Time to take Poland. I got a whole field marshal's worth of tanks and cavalry. We're just going to gallop straight in. And also, we get mobilization for free. We move up to limited mobilization. There's a lot of bonuses, or rather, reduction of malices I need to get here. And yeah, we just kind of gobble up Poland very easily. I suppose I should probably move up my manpower as well and actually start drafting some people. I am not enjoying how many focuses are hidden from the player. Look at this. Once I've done the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and we've taken Poland, a bunch of focuses open up, including massively giving me benefits for fixing my army and techs and resources. This is so good, dude. It's also winter war time. It's going to be pretty hard because I have, like I said, very little organization, but honestly, I just need experience, so I don't really care about lost lives and equipment. I just care about pushing. It took a little while and a lot of casualties, but we have sort of won the winter war. We got the concession, though technically that counts as a loss of the Winter War, which is weird, the historical option, but whatever. It's also now 1940, which means it's time for the T-34. I got all the text necessary. Oh, she's beautiful. She's actually accurate. She has the right 76mm gun. She has the armor. It's so gorgeous. Let's just make a ton of them. The only thing different is that there is no radio listed here, and technically the T-34 did have a listed radio in its strength. However, in actuality, the Soviet army had nowhere near enough radios produced to equip their T-34s, so I agree, we're going to keep the radio out. It is now January 1941, so it's time to prep for Barbarossa. Our infantry division is staying exactly the same. This is the design, and I don't like it, but we get to make our 1941 tank division. And this is a chunker. Let's start with the two different tank regiments, each of which contains 2 medium tank battalions and 1 heavy tank battalion, as well as a flame tank battalion. Unfortunately, there is no flame tanks in BICE. They've removed them and replaced them with close support guns, which I have actually researched, so I will start making them pretty much from now and use that. Then there is the Motorized Rifle Regiment, which just has 3 Motorized Rifle Battalions, pretty simple, and a Motorized Artillery Regiment, which contains only medium and heavy artillery, all of which being motorized. But there's actually only 12 total pieces of medium artillery, so I can just use 1 battalion, and 12 pieces of heavy artillery, so I can use the support company. Alongside some maintenance company and signals, this is it, our tank division. Looks pretty good, right? But the thing is, it's a lie. This was the listed strength of the tank divisions, but they did not make anywhere near enough T-34s in 1941. They literally didn't even approach half. Instead, they utilized older light tanks and the BT tank line to help fill in the gaps. So I'm going to represent that by replacing 3 of the medium tank battalions with 2 light tanks and 1 cavalry tank, which I will then, over the course of the year and onwards, replace slowly with more mediums. I think this is a good historical compromise. And now it's time to just change over everyone into infantry. Oh boy, this is going to be very unpleasant. Look at how much equipment I'm still lacking. I've got to do some huge reorganization, as well as starting to get everyone onto some kind of defensive line. We have a choice between expanding the Stalin line or doing the Molotov line. Molotov line being directly on the Polish border, or what was once Poland, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick to the Stalin line. I am certain I'm going to get pushed back very heavily. Unfortunately, I did not quite realize that the Stalin line is not just the river. It's actually like a straight line up through the Baltics and down, and it goes in front of the river. So it's built a bunch of pillbox defenses, not where I expected them. So I'm going to have to frantically build more pillbox defenses. I've already built some on the western part of the river because I knew that wasn't the Stalin line, but I'm going to need to build some everywhere. Pillbox defenses, by the way, in BICE are a cheaper, like, level 1 fort. They're like a good starting out defense. I've got boys all on the German line, and I'm just trying to think about reserve positions at this point. I'm scared. 1 entire army on the western border, 1 almost entire army on the Romanian, with another big army in reserve right behind the Romanian line, and then another one on the Stalin line itself. I've also got like a dozen or something divisions up on the Finnish border to guard the rivers and Leningrad itself, because I know I won't be able to contend with that. Now we got 3 months to train up and get ready. Let's just get some army experience and try to make these divisions a bit stronger. I've also managed to finish the very first defensive doctrine, Defense in Depth. It cost me all my XP and took so long, but I think it's going to be very necessary. I'm just going to try and rush the next one once I have the XP for it. I've also got some tank divisions ready in reserve to counteract small breakthroughs, because I'm imagining it's going to happen quite a lot. And oh my god, here is the war a bit late. It's in July rather than June 22nd, and let's see how it goes. They're pushing and hitting me pretty bad. Yeah, I've got a lot of air up, but I have like 6 org in my divisions. They're just falling back. That's not good. I need to start saving up my XP so I can do military reorganization as soon as I get 100 experience, because that's what I have to have. And also there's a whole bunch of focuses that are very short but are very strong, and I had to wait until the war started, so we're going to try and grind through those in the meantime, as well as going up to total mobilization. Let's do the move industry focus. This lets us basically evacuate industry to the Earls. Let's do it real quick. We've somehow already suffered 600,000 casualties and dealt, we're not even on the board. Okay. Oh, we're just losing here. Okay, yeah, we are just falling back along the entire line. This is not so good. We can evacuate all of our industry using command power. It's surprisingly easy to do as long as you've saved up command power. We just have to, like, hope that we don't lose all the territory before it's finished moving. I've also finally saved up enough XP, so we're doing military reorganization. In 60 days, that'll be done, and then we can move to the most important focus in the whole damn tree, Red Army Rebuilt. It only takes 44 days, and it massively reduces the purge modifiers, and it also reduces them during the focus as well. Thank God. Oh, and we can also start scorching the earth as we retreat. This blows up a bunch of industry and stuff. That's pretty cool. We're just going to do that every time we start to retreat, and yeah, it's now. We're falling back pretty much along the entire line. This is happening very quickly, and the river's already been breached at the bottom. I was hoping to hold beyond Crimea for a little bit longer. No. Okay, my divisions are just really bad. Yeah, this is basically just a bunch of division shuffling. I'm moving all over the line. I can do Red Army Rebuilt, but I'm just not sure how much good it's going to do me here. We've already lost Crimea, and we're already fully on the Stalin line. But there's not that many defenses on there. I can at least do Order 227, which does give me some division defense on core territory, which is great, but I'm just not sure it's going to be enough. Another big priority is that I believe I can get quite a lot of free units, I hope, through some of these focuses, but it's not 100% clear. These ones give me guard battalions, but I don't think that actually gives me free units. I don't know, man. I'm overwhelmed, but I really want to get Tankigrad because it gives me factories, and the one below it gives me tractors for tanks. It's 48 free tanks, as well as tank assembly plants. This would be so amazing. I do lose the ability to have tractors, but I don't care. Give me the factories. Oh, thank God. It's finally cold. It took till November till the snows hit, but finally the Germans will start to slow down. Black ice massively increases weather penalties, so this should be our saving grace. I don't have the XP yet, and it still takes way too long, but we need some doctrine together. Let's start mass assault. We gotta go. Oh, I do actually have a Soviet winter offensive decision I can take, which gives me 10% attack, but it's just not, it's not doable. I cannot push them. I will do it just for the cold acclimatization factor, but I am not making any progress. I'm just trying to hold them on any line of rivers I can, and there is a focus here to form the tank corps, and I've just completed it, and what it's done is it's given me a bunch of tank divisions. And this is actually a very different template to what I was building, but it's actually very close to what I was about to build as soon as I hit 1942. The big problem is the strength. These have just been formed with no strength. There is no equipment in here whatsoever. This just gave me an empty tank division. However, I will say this is very nice because it can slowly fill up as I continue to produce more T-34s. This could be worse, you know, but thankfully it is now January 1942, so I can change my divisions, which means I can get rid of this god-awful infantry design. Look at it. It's just too much artillery. The 1942 to 45 rifle division was much more slimmed down. And the main thing is obviously it lost the tank, thank Christ, but the artillery was reduced. There was still an artillery regiment, which had 3 battalions, but it's a little bit confusing exactly where the guns all belonged because one of the battalions was a reduced strength battalion, and half of its artillery was actually divided up amongst the rifle battalions, but ultimately it all works out to exactly 24 light artillery and 12 medium artillery. None of this motorization nonsense. This is now the correct design. Also, we get to remove the heavy artillery entirely, which saves so much equipment. Seriously, look at this. We're saving so much. This is going to mean our divisions can actually, you know, get gear together, and I can also start to recruit new ones. Oh, and also it gained a car field hospital detachment. But another significant change in this division is that the Soviet army realized, hang on, we need some submachine guns in our divisions. So they began rolling out the surprisingly good and cheap PPSH-41s. And allocated them to the rifle battalions. And what they did is they allocated 40 SMGs per company. Thus 120 SMGs per battalion and 360 per regiment. And this actually works out perfectly that I can just directly replace 3 of the infantry battalions with assault infantry, something that BICE adds, which uses assault equipment, which gives them a little bit more breakthrough and soft attack. I love it. It's perfect. We now also have the 1942 Tank Division, or Corps as they were actually known, and we're going to use the corps that it actually just gave us because it's pretty accurate, just needs some small changes. At the moment this looks like a hellish division because it has such little infantry, but in actuality each of the tank brigades which form up the corps, the nomenclature is a little weird, but this is basically like a regiment. The brigades sort of act like a mini division in that they have 2 subsections of tanks and also a separate motorized infantry, which is completely distinct from the motorized rifle brigade. Thus, each of the brigades, 3 of which form up a corps, has about 45-ish tanks, and then a motorized infantry battalion. This means that we can actually add quite a lot of motorized infantry in total to our division. But another thing is that the tank brigades themselves were not just mediums. Quite a lot of the tanks were actually T-70 light tanks, especially at the early parts of 1942. So we're going to replicate that by replacing some of the battalions with light tanks. But also, we're going to be reducing the number of battalions because there just isn't that many tanks in the division. Like, there is only about 140 total tanks in the Corps, which is so crazy. So we've reduced the battalions and added a lot more motorized infantry, and replaced the mechs because there's no evidence of mechs being present. The only other thing is that the game gives me a motorized artillery regiment, but in actuality the Tank Corps had a self-propelled artillery regiment containing Su-76s and Su-122s. I can't make them yet because I can't even access the tech as of yet, but I will replicate this with the close support gun of the BT line, so I will get a cavalry CS tank to help replace that. And that is the division. It's actually not that bad. It has a decent amount of org if I actually had doctrine, motorcycle reconnaissance, mech, headquarters. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. After all those new templates, our stockpiles are looking not bad. Like, yes, we're in the red for a few things, but like infantry equipment, a lot of the stuff that matters, we're doing okay. Are we actually gonna be fine? Though we are now pretty much out of steel refineries. I think I should have been building some in the east. I'm gonna actually have to start importing steel. This is not so good. I will now use my tractors to start expanding some of the mines. I should have been doing this all the way through. I realize that now. I'm also running out of food. I only have 250 days left. That's not so good. Thankfully, assaults have pretty much entirely stopped, probably because it's in the dead of winter, so we're just trying to hold and regather equipment and hope the Germans attrition a bit. I've been actively training infantry divisions as I go, so I can just sort of pop them out anywhere there are some weak spots, which is pretty good. Hopefully, I can just out-economy the Germans. I am also somehow completely out of manpower, probably because I've lost millions. So let's move up to 3-year draft and we can start expanding our conscription policies. Sorry guys, I'm really worried about the Finnish front. They've pushed past the river and have kind of encircled me, and there's a lot of tanks just sitting here, but they're not moving. So I don't know what to do, and I can't counter them. Also, because I've lost so many cities and little places all the way through the front, I've actually lost a lot of research slots. They were actually tied to specific cities, so I can't use them anymore. Oh, we held Leningrad. That's cool. We get a combat operation and presumably some war support, and hopefully the Germans lose war support as well. I mean, it was never really under threat, so alright. Oh god, winter's over, and now the Germans are immediately pushing me just along the entire front. This is not good. I'm just trying to go down the focus tree to try and get as many free units as possible. I was hoping these guard unit focuses would give me stuff, but they don't. They just give me access to like better battalions, but that doesn't help me. My divisions don't need newer and cooler ones. They just need equipment. They need guns and men and enough people on the ground so that the Germans don't rush past them. I will say though, it is pretty cool. We do get guards divisions now, so we can make some. These were basically rewarded elite divisions. Certain infantry divisions, after surviving or winning a cool fight, were converted to guards divisions. They are pretty much identical to a regular infantry division in every way, except they get like first grab on all the good equipment. And in this game, their logos are red. So that's cool. We'll make a division of those a little bit later when I have enough XP. We are beginning to get pushed along the entire front line, and I'm really worried about this little pocket forming around Leningrad. I think I need to start pulling back here. Fully lost over 5 million men to the Germans, and we have not even inflicted 200,000 casualties on them. This is bad. My divisions are so under-equipped that they're not only just getting pushed, they're getting deleted. Yeah, I think it's time to start abandoning Leningrad. This is just awful. Look at this. They are beginning a full-on encirclement. We can at least move down towards 1940 defense in depth doctrine. I really need to be rushing this. I'm so scared. And we need to move up our service ages as well, because once again, we are out of manpower. All of my divisions are just so weak that all that's happening is the Germans right-click me, I fall back, and half the division dies. So I am constantly losing manpower and guns and land. Can you tell I'm panicking? And you know what? There are actually small places we could do some counterattacks. Look at this. We can kind of push into this little bit here. Also, I finally got all of the tech necessary for the T-34 Model 42. This is a significant upgrade to the base T-34. It's got much better armor. It's got, I think, a little bit of a better gun. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. This is the tank that won the war, my guy. It's such a beefy lad with its sloped armor and its easy design. Its reliability is basically non-existent, but it does stuff. Let's build 2 billion of them. I have only now just noticed that I have lost my entire Air Force. What the hell? All of my planes have died. I guess my massive Red Air Force penalties from the purge, I didn't get rid of them quick enough. This is terrible. I have no planes. But Stalingrad has stood. That's cool. That is very good. I think it's not going to stand for much longer, but we're doing our best. I'm also just noticing that Germany is not doing so great either. They have like 500,000 active manpower, but they're on expanded draft and aged 16 to 60 recruitment bracket. That is bad. They get some significant penalties. I'm on like 18 to 40. That's 5 brackets lower. They're suffering huge stability penalties and economy penalties. This should matter, right? Also, Japan has won in China. Like, they just completely and totally won. There's no question. They have annihilated them. Now they're pushing into India, and it's only 1942. What is this? We're beginning the pullout of Leningrad and also trying to evacuate the factories. I should have done this a long time ago. And we can start to do reformed officers to get big doctrine bonuses and get rid of officers purge. This is going to make a huge difference. But I'm a little nervous because it kind of looks like I'm losing here. The US is in the war, and they've actually invaded North Africa, so that's pretty cool. Maybe that means they'll actually help me out. It would be good if they would send me some Lend-Lease, but they just sort of won't. I finally built enough factories to reclaim all of my losses from the factories I lost in the West, meaning we're finally making planes and handheld AT. The retreat in Leningrad is going, just fine. Iran's declared. Okay, that's weird because Iran didn't declare on me. The Soviets and Britain are supposed to attack Iran jointly. Iran's attacked me and then joined the Axis. What's going on? I have no troops prepared. I'm going to have to pop out some divisions in an emergency. Okay. Oh, this is distracting me from the north. I need to pull out faster. Ooh, my boys are getting caught. Okay, I've left a few divisions behind in Leningrad, like 6 or 7. They're not very good, and they're massively undersupplied. I was hoping they'd get some local supply so they could actually survive in the siege of Leningrad, like what happened historically, but no. Okay. My whole front line is very weird. We've got one ginormous army just trying to hold Moscow as best I can, and then divisions spread everywhere else. I'm having to constantly reconfigure the line anywhere I can, grabbing doctrine where possible, but I'm just so concerned. Every time they push, they do some serious damage to me. I am able to counterattack in the plains around Stalingrad with my tanks, which is pretty good. I'm able to push back and claim a few tiles, but they're just sort of annihilating me. No, this is bad. They're supposed to be slowing down. They're not slowing down. I'm getting new tank divisions everywhere I can, but it doesn't seem to matter. They're just pouring on my entire line. Ah, there goes Leningrad. That was actually very easy for them. Those divisions are now probably going to start pouring across my entire line. All right, the assaults have mostly stopped. It's October 42. We can maybe rest for the winter. We've still held, like, Stalingrad. That's good. And Moscow. They can't touch us. Okay, I was looking at Moscow, and Stalingrad has fallen. It looks like they have not stopped the assaults. They're actually pushing very heavily despite the winter attrition penalties. They're not suffering in the slightest. My assault into Iran is also sort of failing, probably because there's no British support. And we're coming into December of 42, and they are just absolutely galloping into me. Moscow is being assaulted. I am having to enforce rationing. I don't know what to do here. I am getting crushed. I'm just popping out units in an emergency. They're under-equipped, they're under-trained. I just need guys to hold the line. I just don't have enough divisions. I lost too many in the initial waves. I've got the 3rd Tank Corps, but it doesn't matter. They're so under-equipped. It is now January 43, so it's time for the fundamental changes to divisions, but there isn't really much to do. The only thing that really happened in like mid-late 43 is more dedicated tank destroyer and self-propelled guns in the form of the Su-85s and Su-122s were added to the division, but I literally was not able to research them before 1943 because I need so many technologies to get it. So once I finish researching them, I'll start adding them to my tank divisions. But I'm a little concerned I'm actually not going to get the opportunity. Like, I've lost Baku, I've lost everything here. The Caucasus are gone. The Americans are sending me absolutely nothing for Lend-Lease, and I am out of steel. They're just pushing me. The moment winter penalties go, I am donezo. Is this going to be another damn failure of Black Eyes? Come on. We've got new mechanized corps, and those are pretty cool. These actually are essentially representative of the kind of weird mechanized corps that they made. And while I only have graphs for the 1944 mechanized corps, which was surprisingly beefy, filled with KV-1s and 2s, But at this point, the mechanized corps is mostly a mixture of T-34s and could have leftover light tanks, with KV-1s being added later on. And it's also mostly motorized rifle battalions, not actually mechanized. They get more mechanized as the war goes on, and they get stronger with more self-propelled guns as well. But I'm not sure it's gonna matter for me because they're here and they're pushing. Well, if I'm on the way out, might as well make that beautiful guard division, just converting every single thing to their red equivalents. They get a bit better stats and a bit of a better grab on equipment. It looks pretty, but not going to be very useful. Okay, I would like to formally blame the mod for this. So it turns out there is a bunch of focuses that are secretly added to the tree that the game does not tell you about when Germany attacks you. Underneath the icebreaker focus, which you can pick to attack Germany, if they attack you, it bypasses it and gives you a bunch of focuses that allows you to request Lend-Lease, get tons of factory output, and loads of bonuses, including free militia units to hold the line. The game never once told me that I could do this, and I have never seen it in the focus tree before. I have just gone right past it every time. I should have had these 2 years ago. I am very salty. This is just terrible. We're on the out and out, guys. We have no research slots. We got no equipment. We got no trains to supply anyone. We've had to go up manpower once more. I think this is it. We're just falling back everywhere. We have been obliterated. Damn this mod. I love it, but it's so hard. I have once again been defeated in Black Ice. I can do the reconstructed army focus, but there's no point. I am being absolutely obliterated. Japan has won in China, and Germany has won against me. There it is, the end game screen. I'm sorry to have given you another failure in Black Ice, guys, but I tried to be as historical as possible, which meant my divisions were crap and overstuffed and overextended, so they got wiped out, and I could just never recover. That and hidden focuses by the mod developers have wrecked me. God, I love this mod. Thank you very much for watching. Do be sure to leave a like and a comment down below with a new video suggestion, and subscribe to help me hit that 50,000 subscriber goal. And thank you very much to HOI4’s for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click my link in the description and use my code Aldrahill for 15% off of your order. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.